the Sea of Galilee, a place of serene beauty, a source of life for the fishermen who worked its waters. But on this day, it would become a theater of terror, a stage for a miracle that would echo through eternity. The disciples, seasoned fishermen who knew this sea like the back of their hands, set out with Jesus. The sky was clear, the mood was light. They had no idea they were sailing directly into a confrontation, not just with nature, but with the very nature of fear itself. Suddenly, without warning, the sky turned a menacing shade of grey. The wind, once a gentle breeze, became a ferocious gale, howling like a beast unleashed. This was no ordinary squall. The Gospel of Mark describes it as a furious storm. Waves, black and monstrous, rose up, crashing over the sides of their small wooden boat. The vessel, which had been their livelihood and their sanctuary, was now a toy in the hands of a violent sea. It was tossed and battered, groaning under the strain. Cold water swamped the deck, filling the boat, threatening to drag them all into the churning depths. In the midst of this chaos, where were the disciples? They were gripped by sheer terror. These were not novices, they were rugged men, hardened by a life on the water. They had faced storms before, but this was different. This felt like the end. You can almost hear their frantic shouts, the splintering wood, the roar of the wind and water, a symphony of destruction. They fought with all their might, bailing water, wrestling with the sail. But it was a losing battle. The sea was relentless, and with each wave that broke over them, their hope sank a little deeper. Their strength was failing, and a cold, primal fear took hold. They were convinced they were about to perish. And where was Jesus during all of this? In the stern of the boat, fast asleep on a cushion. Can you imagine the scene? The disciples are in a life-or-death struggle, screaming in panic, and their teacher is sleeping peacefully. It's an almost surreal image. Their fear and desperation finally boiled over. They stumbled to him, shaking him awake, their voices laced with accusation and terror. "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" It wasn't just a question. It was a cry from the heart, a question we've all asked in the darkest moments of our lives. God, are you there? Do you even care about what I'm going through? Their fear had blinded them. They saw the storm, they felt the water rising, but they had forgotten who was in the boat with them. Awakened by their cries, Jesus didn't panic. He didn't rush to help bail water. He stood up, and with a calmness that defied the raging tempest around him, he faced the storm. He rebuked the wind and then spoke directly to the tumultuous waves. 3 simple, powerful words. Peace, be still. There was no shouting match, no lengthy prayer. It was a command, spoken with absolute authority. And the response was instantaneous. The wind didn't just die down, it ceased. The waves didn't just get smaller, the sea became perfectly calm, as smooth as glass. The chaos vanished in a breathtaking moment of supernatural silence. The transition was absolute. One moment, a roaring vortex of destruction. The next, a profound, eerie tranquility. The disciples were stunned into silence. Their fear of the storm was instantly replaced by a new, more profound emotion: awe. The Gospel says they were terrified, but this was a different kind of terror. It wasn't the fear of drowning. It was the awe-filled fear of standing in the presence of immense, unimaginable power. They looked at each other, their faces pale in the sudden stillness, and they whispered, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." They had seen him heal the sick, cast out demons, and teach with authority. But this was on another level entirely. This was a display of power over the very fabric of creation. They thought they knew him, but in that moment, they realized they had only scratched the surface. The man sleeping in their boat was the Lord of the universe. This incredible event is more than just a historical account of a miracle. It carries a deep, symbolic meaning that speaks directly to our own lives. The sea in the Bible often represents chaos, the unknown, and the turbulent circumstances of life. The boat is our life, our family, our career, our journey, and the storm? The storm is every crisis we face. It's the sudden diagnosis, the unexpected job loss, the breakdown of a relationship, the overwhelming anxiety, the crushing weight of depression. These are the storms that threaten to swamp our boat and pull us under. Like the disciples, we often try to handle these storms on our own. We bail water, we fight the waves, we rely on our own strength and experience. And like them, we eventually find ourselves exhausted, terrified, and feeling like we're about to drown. And what is our first reaction? We cry out, "God, don't you care?" We see Jesus seemingly asleep in our boat, silent and distant, and our fear turns to frustration and doubt. We wonder if he has abandoned us in our moment of greatest need. But the story teaches us a vital lesson. Jesus is always in the boat. His apparent silence is not absence. His apparent sleep is not apathy. It is an invitation to shift our focus from the size of our storm to the size of our God. The disciples' mistake was that they focused on the wind and the waves, and in doing so, they forgot the creator of the wind, and the waves was right there with them. The hidden meaning of this miracle is a profound revelation about faith and fear. Jesus asked his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" He wasn't scolding them for being human. He was pointing out a fundamental truth. Fear and faith cannot coexist in the same space. When we are consumed by fear, our faith shrinks. But when we choose to exercise faith, our fears begin to lose their power. Faith isn't the absence of storms. It's the assurance of God's presence in the midst of them. It's knowing that the one who can command the wind and the waves can certainly speak peace to the chaos in our hearts and our lives. So what does this mean for you and me today? It means that no matter what storm you are facing, you are not alone. The same Jesus who was in that boat on the Sea of Galilee is with you in your boat right now. He sees the waves crashing over you. He hears your cries of fear. He knows you feel like you're sinking, and he is waiting for you to turn to him, not in panic, but in faith. The challenge is to stop looking at the storm and start looking at the storm calmer. To stop telling God how big your storm is and start telling your storm how big your God is. He has the power to speak 3 words to your situation: peace, be still. And he can bring a calm that surpasses all understanding. Trust him. He is the master of the wind and the waves, and he is the Prince of Peace. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the deep truths of faith. May you find peace in your storm.